Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another episode of Premier League Talk, and a mental weekend we had in the Premier League this weekend. Teams getting back on form, some surprise victories and some absolute walkthroughs for some teams. So we'll start as we usually do. I'm just going to run through all the results. We'll start with Saturday. Bournemouth kicked us off. They beat Liverpool 1-0. We'll come back to that game later because that is one I really want to talk about. Everton, Dwight McNeil scored in the first minute of the game. They saw off Brentford 1-0 at Goodison Park. Great result for them, really boost their survival chances. Brentford slip up in a bit in their chase for European football. They obviously beat Fulham on Monday night, but I'm not sure it's too much of a worry for them. Leeds then drew 2-2 with Brighton. Huge result for Leeds as well. They do stay in the relegation zone, but again, it keeps them in and around the other teams in the fight with them. Brighton, again, it's another slip up in the race for Europe, but again, I'm not sure it's going to affect them too much as all Brentford, Brighton and Fulham all drop points this week, so it's fine. Leicester then lost 3-1 to Chelsea. Chelsea seem to be on a serious run of form, really regaining their confidence. They obviously beat Dortmund midweek in the Champions League 2-0. Great performance from Chelsea. Chilwell with a goal, Havertz with a goal, Kovacic with a goal. Yeah, great performance. Really showed the talent they have as well and the quality that they can bring to the table. So huge 3 points for Chelsea in their race for European football. Spurs then dismantled Forest 3-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Pretty straightforward win for Spurs, no questions asked. They were 6 points clear of Newcastle. They're now only 3 points clear of Newcastle, and we'll get to that one later. Crystal Palace, they lost 1-0 at home to Manchester City. They played really well. I thought they really held out Manchester City for the majority of the game until the penalty, which Haaland obviously dispatched. City cut the gap to Arsenal to 2 points until, now we move on to Sunday, Fulham got dismantled by Arsenal at Craven Cottage. 3-0 it was to the Gunners. We will come back to that one as well. Manchester United then drew 0-0 with Southampton. That was a very controversial game, and that is the third and final game we'll come back to. Before West Ham drew 1-0 with Aston Villa. Benrahma with a penalty, Watkins with a goal. Again, pretty simple. Benrahma should have had a few goals, though he missed some absolute sitters. So I take that as points dropped for West Ham. They had the chances to win that game. And then finally, Newcastle went 1-0 up, went to 1-0. Then they won 2-1 against Wolves. Newcastle cutting that gap to Tottenham to only 3 points. A huge result for them in their chase for the Champions League. Anyway, let us start. We're going to start actually with Bournemouth versus Liverpool. Huge result for Bournemouth. They move off the bottom of the table as Southampton only got a point with Manchester United. And it was one no one really expected. Obviously, Liverpool play Real Madrid midweek. Again, they're obviously 5-2 down on aggregate. I think they're done and dusted in that tie. But they'd obviously just dismantled Manchester United 7-0 in a game where everyone thought, oh, come on, this is it, Liverpool are back. So this was a real clanger by Liverpool standards. Salah obviously missed a penalty, something not like him at all. I thought Bournemouth were just superb. They were first at everything. They really took the fight to Liverpool. Billing, he got the goal for Bournemouth. It was a great performance. Thoroughly deserved. But for Liverpool, again, I think it's almost acts as a reminder that there's still a long way to go. Obviously, they haven't had the best season by any stretch of the imagination. They really haven't. They stay in fifth. They're in sixth now. But, again, I think they need to find some way to work their team together. And I'm sure they will, because Klopp is a class manager. But I think this is more of a reminder, not humbling, I'd say, but a reminder that there's still a long way to go. They're not back just because they dismantled a thoroughly poor Manchester United side on the day. But Bournemouth, this is great for their survival chances. Obviously, they're up to 19th now. They're level on points with the two teams above them as well, which is huge. The relegation fight is getting really close this year. It's something I definitely recommend you keep an eye on because there are loads of teams who can go down. West Ham, everyone up to 12th, really. Crystal Palace are in 12th on 27 points and Southampton at bottom on 22 points. So there's 5 points separating 8 places. Really competitive bottom half. So definitely recommend you keep an eye on the relegation race. But this is something that it's huge for Bournemouth, and it could be a catalyst for the season. Obviously, it was so cruel how they lost at the Emirates last weekend. Reece Nelson in the final minute. So to get 3 points here, massive for their season. Anyway, let us move on to Fulham versus Arsenal. Now, it's the first time we've talked about Arsenal on a Premier League Talk for a while now, because I've been hoping not to jinx it, but I have to talk about this performance. What a result. Craven Cottage has obviously been a really hard place to go to. Fulham have been so consistent over the season. Manchester United had to nick a late winner there. Liverpool only drew. Chelsea lost. Tottenham they only won 1-0. And it was a wonder goal from Harry Kane. it's been a really tough place to go to for a lot of teams this season. For Arsenal to go there and put in 3 goals in the first half was incredible. Leandro Trossard, obviously, he is the first Premier League player in an away match to get a hat-trick of assists within the first half. What a performance. And it was compounded for Arsenal with Gabriel Jesus returning after his lengthy injury. Yeah, I mean, we were just so good. The passing of play, we split Fulham wide open in every single layer, from the attack to the midfield to the defence. Fulham did hit the bar not too long after the halftime break, but apart from that, nothing was really going for them. Gabriel with a goal, Martinelli with a goal, and Odegaard with a goal. Yeah, solid performance. We go 5 points clear again. We've got Palace at home next Sunday, with the chance to go 8 points clear because City are in FA Cup action against Burnley. We obviously have the second leg against Sporting midweek, 2-2 at the moment, but it is at the Emirates, so I'm confident that we can go through in that one. But yeah, I thought just a great performance from Arsenal. Really professional, and it just shows how we're taking it one game at a time. So I hope I haven't jinxed it. But move on to Fulham. This was a rare blip for them. I thought the whole season, even though when they've lost games, they've still been really hard to break down, really gone for it, really competitive. That just wasn't the case this time. I think it's tiredness. Obviously, they lost to Brentford midweek, but that was on a Monday night, so it's not really midweek. But it's just tiredness. I think they'll get there. They really will, and I'm very confident they'll get Europe. And they've been helped by the fact that Brentford lost and Brighton only drew, so it's good for them. Not a good result, obviously, but it's good that other teams drop points. So I think they'll be fine. But yeah, I think it's just back to the drawing board for them. Just give them a rest because, yeah, they look tired. There's not very much else to say. Anyway, moving on to the controversial game of the weekend, Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. Now, this game was scarred by the controversy of Casemiro's red card. Here is the challenge here. As you can see, he makes contact with the shin of the Southampton player. His foot actually went over the ball, which I thought was a bit unlucky because if it hadn't gone over the ball, it would have been a perfectly good challenge. But it is a red. He studs up straight into his shin. And I've seen a lot of people say it's not a red. It's being marked by the fact that referees are slowing it down and making it look worse than it actually is. In real time, that could still break someone's leg. If the ball wasn't there and he went that high into his shin, that could have been an ankle breaker. It was not a good challenge. I definitely think it was a red card. But people are coming at it from the point that how is it a red card? Because he has made contact with the ball and that's just a follow through. You still get red cards in the Premier League for follow throughs anyway. So yeah, Casemiro getting sent off, obviously that wasn't helpful. And Man United fans, again, I'm not, because I think VAR has been very controversial this season. So I think they're unlucky there, but I do think it was a red card. So VAR on that occasion did get it right, in my opinion. But apart from that, they were just woeful. I think Southampton had the better chances. Ward-Prowse only scored a great free kick. Fernandes did hit the post, but it was saved onto the post by Bazunu. Walker-Peters hit the post as well. That was so close to being an absolute screecher from Walker-Peters. So Southampton, I think they'll take a point. To get a point at Old Trafford is not an easy thing to do, especially for a Southampton side who have struggled as much as they have. It was a great result, and again, really helps them in the relegation fight. This result, I think, definitely confirms that Manchester United are out of the title race. They're now 16 points behind Arsenal. Yeah, I think it was confirmed last week anyway at Anfield, but if people didn't believe, now they should. I think they've definitely guaranteed top four, especially if they win their next game. But the title race now I've reached Manchester United, and I thought it was, again, you could say tiredness, because again, they did play Real Betis midweek, and who they smashed 4-1. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, this has been another episode of Premier League Talk, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.